Hey, remember how fun it was when Ukraine was using open source intelligence information and purchasing satellite pictures of Russian formations from American companies? And we were all excited and we were like, yes, this is the future. Our allies, the people on the right side of history, are going to be able to use the power of the crowd and the power of this modern technology to thwart our enemies. Remember when that was funny? Remember when that was hilarious? You know, there's a funny thing about technology though. It seems that all sides can use the technology. So that was one of the big things. When Russia went into Ukraine, there are a lot of companies out there nowadays that provide satellite images of the Earth's surface. There's one company called Planet Labs. They're actually really cool. They can take a picture of the exact same place on the planet 12 times a day. And basically you just go to them, you tell them the coordinates you want, you tell them how many pictures you want, and you can simply get those pictures. So we saw this with Ryan Macbeth. Again, think about this in the real fucking world. This is how fucking bizarre the real world is now. So Ryan Macbeth is a YouTube influencer, right? Who talks about war and that type of thing. And anyways, at one point during the Ukraine war, he was purchasing satellite pictures of things going on in Ukraine and Russia, and it was costing him about $500 a pop, right? You know, when I sit here and I talk about the projects that I'm doing, and I talk about how expensive my MacBook is or whatever else, you know, that bringing you this information costs me money. Well, for him, literally one of his costs was purchasing satellite imagery over a war zone. Which is just, it's just welcome to, that was 2025. 2026 is going to get even more insane. And so anyways, that is where we are at, where with open source intelligence, you can have crowd-sourced intelligence gathering. Basically, people go out, they get information from all over the internet, that type of thing. They correlate it to try to pull out valuable tidbits. And then also you can simply purchase a lot of information, again, from things like these satellite image companies and all of that type of deal. Well, what's curious, surprise, is if our vloggers are able to do that about the war in Ukraine, well, guess what? The Iranians can basically buy the exact same type of information from the Chinese. Oh, and it's gonna get bad. It's gonna get bad. Chinese firms market Iran war intelligence, quote, exposing U.S. forces. The private companies, some with ties to the military, are marketing detailed intelligence on movements of U.S. troops, even as Beijing seeks to keep its distance. So Beijing is like, we're not doing it. We're not touching you. We're not touching you. We're not touching you. How are we supposed to control the private companies that happen to do business in our country, right? And again, this is going to be the fascinating thing as we move forward, because we've seen so much of this playbook from the American point of view, the Western point of view, like when Twitter was being used to foment literal revolution in the Middle East. Right, that was like the Twitter revolutions. That was the Twitter spring. Look at how powerful social media can be. It can bring uprisings in these totalitarian states. And then, you know, when Twitter and Facebook and the rest of it was used to sow discord in the United States, all of a sudden, that is coming from bad actors and that type of deal. Notice how that works. When our technology is used against other people, that's good. When our technology is used against us, that's bad, right? And so again, that's going to be what's curious to think about, what's going to happen with all this kind of going into the future. Let's see here. As the war in Iran erupted 5 weeks ago, social media sleuths across Western and Chinese platforms flagged a wave of viral posts detailing equipment at U.S. bases, the movements of American carrier groups, and granular breakdowns of how military aircraft were assembling for strikes on Tehran. The intelligence came from a fast-growing new market, Chinese firms, some with links to the People's Liberation Army, marrying artificial intelligence with open source data to market information they claim can expose movements of U.S. forces. And that's one of the big things, too, again, with these intelligence gathering campaigns, is there's a big problem of correlating data, right? Again, having been military stuff and communication stuff in military. One of the big things when they used to talk about that with the military intelligence folks is the military intelligence folks would capture all of this information. They would capture just a tremendous amount of information. But again, for me, it was back in the 90s. And the problem that they had is they had all this information. But it's like it is far easier to collect and store data than it is to correlate that data, basically connect the data, connect all the dots, and then figure out what that means. One of the fascinating things about artificial intelligence is that it can correlate data at light speed. And again, especially with things like multimodal models, models that understand both text and they understand images or video, and they have more of that contextual understanding, the ability for them to be able to pull meaning from a tremendous amount of data incredibly quickly is really, really very powerful, right? So imagine if you have all these military bases all around the world and you have all these people taking pictures. You have military people taking pictures, you have civilian people taking pictures, you have the public works people taking pictures, right? For whatever reason, there's a celebration, there's this, there's that, the other thing, right? And then that goes online. Well, the thing is, again, if you got millions and millions and millions of pictures from all around the world, all these divergent, just disparate people posting images about different things, but what you have to understand is in the background of those images or whatever else, there might be valuable information. Here's the thing, a human being would not be able to correlate millions of images to come out with little nuggets of truth, whereas artificial intelligence can do that shit in a heartbeat, which is going to become very interesting. Beijing has sought to distance itself from any direct involvement in the Iran war, but the firms, many of which have emerged in the past 5 years as part of the government's push to harness private AI for military use, are capitalizing on the conflict. And again, just to put this on the table, the United States and Russia used to get into proxy wars. United States and Russia used to have our wars in other places to try to weaken the other side. I mean, I'm sure it could not possibly be the case that China would be willing to support Iran literally just to weaken us. They're already talking about that. We have already run through so many of our munitions already. There is an actual interesting question about whether we could defend Taiwan right now. Again, this isn't like conspiracy theorist or shit. Like, because they were talking about that before. They talked about that with a limited amount of munitions, that we could only be able to like try to go to war with China for a few weeks before. Like before the Iran war, we only had a limited amount of all of our high-tech munitions. And if we got into an all-out war with China, we would burn through that in weeks. Many of the munitions we'd actually burn through in days. Now, one of the things I want you to think about is we have now been at war with Iran for 5 weeks. For 5 weeks, we have been dropping a shit ton of munitions. So if we didn't have enough munitions to go to war with China before Iran, how many munitions do you think we have? Do you think we have enough now? So one of those things to ponder there. U.S. officials and intelligence experts are divided over whether Chinese firms' publicly marketed tools pose a genuine threat or are being credibly used by U.S. adversaries, but they say the surge in private sector offerings points to a growing security risk and reflects Beijing's intent to project the strength of its intelligence capabilities. Yep, that makes sense. Private firms have long used open source data, including flight trackers, satellite imagery, and shipping data to generate market intelligence. But the growing AI capability of Chinese firms is making these tools more powerful, underscoring the growing challenge of concealing U.S. military movements from adversaries. Quote, the proliferation of more and more capable private sector geospatial analysis companies in China will augment China's defense capabilities and ability to contest U.S. forces in a crisis. Yep. Mizar Vision, a Hangzhou-based firm founded in 2021, is one of the companies that uses a mix of Western and Chinese data filtered through AI to catalog activity at U.S. bases in the Middle East, track naval movements, and identify the position and number of specific aircraft and missile defense systems. Images sourced to the firm, which is not part of China's military but holds a national military standard certification, Let's see, and posted on Chinese and Western social media, for example, detailed the buildup of U.S. forces in the Middle East on the eve of the launch of Operation Epic Fury, including the passage of the USS Gerald R. Ford and USS Abraham Lincoln carrier strike groups. It also shared detailed breakdowns of the number and types of aircraft massing at Israel's Ovda Air Force Base, Saudi Arabia's Prince Sultan Air Base, and Qatar's Al Udeid Air Base. In the lead up to the escalation of tension in Iran in 2026, we quickly identified the locations of weapons and equipment deployed in the Middle East and, quote, exposed the refueling patterns of U.S. carrier groups, Mizar Vision website claims. And so, yeah, anyways, keeps going on with basically a lot of that. And again, it becomes that interesting question of like, what does warfare look like in 2026 going forward? Like what information can be used for military purposes? How does artificial intelligence allow you to use very low quality data, but be able to correlate a tremendous amount of low quality data into something that might actually be valuable for doing things like targeting, right? That's some interesting stuff right there. Because again, like one of the things you have to be thinking about, like with autonomous systems, like missiles, right? Missiles are autonomous systems, right? So they have GPS for geolocation. They have like inertial guidance systems. So there's a whole bunch of stuff for trying to spoof a GPS or screw with GPS and do other things. But one of the interesting questions that comes up is what if you can get beyond things like GPS? So if you know the specific location of military bases and that type of thing, and you know the specific location of your launch vehicle, right? Do you need GPS to be able to guide that munition all the way to the endpoint? Or can, especially with things like artificial intelligence, can you in real time basically guide that missile system to the location where you want it to be without necessarily having to have GPS? Again, with vision systems, so being able to track objects on the land. So it knows flight time, it knows how it moves within 3D area, it knows where it's supposed to go, it knows how far that is supposed to be away. You add vision systems, so it can basically do landmarking, along the path to get to where it's going. And that's like the kind of interesting stuff that you start to wonder about how all these things marry together. And this is one of the things that we've seen, like with Ukraine, in war with Russia, where again, thermite. Again, what's very funny with that, because again, remember, boys and girls, in the world of artificial intelligence, misgendering somebody, that is an offense. That is beyond the pale. Teaching people how to make thermite. Like literally, you can go to Google Gemini. You can go to Google Gemini right now. Not only will it tell you how to make the thermite, it will tell you how to make the thermite reaction stable. Not joking. Anyways, and that's one of the things that, you see with the war in Ukraine, right? They've been able to basically take small drones, the things like DJI drones, with a shit ton of thermite on it, as much thermite as that drone can carry, basically land that on the top of one of their equivalent of AWACS planes, and trigger the thermite and basically melt through the plane and do hundreds of millions of dollars in damage. And so again, that's one of the things to kind of be thinking about is like I talk about this with like these thermite, direct to your door thermite, DoorDash thermite, Uber Eats for thermite. Is you think about this, right? Countries like Iran or whatever else, you create thousands or tens of thousands of essentially autonomous drones with as much thermite as they can carry. And then if you know the location where you want to send these things, then you just put them on the flight path. And then with the additional intelligence, again, open source intelligence, Chinese intelligence, Russian intelligence, all of that kind of stuff, you figure out where aircraft are at any particular point in time, so you know when to launch attacks at specific air bases or whatever else. I don't know. Starts to get ugly. Starts to get a bit ugly and a bit creepy. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Chinese technology companies selling real-time intelligence data to Iran? What do you think about those nasty Chinese doing basically exactly what we were doing with Russia. Like, what happens when YouTube vloggers have the ability to purchase real-time satellite data? And then what happens in warfare when somebody like a YouTube vlogger can purchase real-time satellite data? Huh. Some things to ponder, some things to think about. Put your thoughts down below. See y'all later.